Hey guys, what's going on? It's Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com, and today we're going to talk about work ethic and mindset. Now, for a lot of us, we're not going to be able to start off like a Maddox or a Larry Wheels. We're going to have to work many years for a very long time in order to see some success in lifting or any other athletic endeavor. So let's get to what it takes and some key examples of people that I know or know of that help. So I'll start with myself, right? The biggest advice I can give you is from what I know. And what I know is that I was a kid that came from getting demolished by a car, being in full-legged cast with a shattered pelvis and legs for nearly a year, and then having to come out of that and try to be a world-class lifter. Okay, now the big thing with that is that I had to learn to enjoy training. So step one is learn to enjoy the process, not just the outcome. The point is that I love to go to the gym, I love to soak everything up and learn from guys that were stronger than me. That over time created a mindset of training when I didn't feel like training, of working hard when everything hurt, of pushing through when I was tired or maybe even slightly sick. I'm not saying to work through having, some crazy outbreak of the flu. I'm just saying if you're not feeling really up to par, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't train. All of that was developed at a young age because I love to work out. Okay, and I knew that coming out of the gate at 13, 14 years old, I started dabbling with weights at 11 with my uncle. By the time I was 13, I was pretty serious about it. I saw that I wasn't going to get strong fast. I mean, I know that I started off stronger than a lot of people, but it still took me 5 months, 6 months, a year to put on 10 pounds on the bench. I just did it for 30 years, and that's why I reached 600. The point is that, in my personal opinion, I learned work ethic based on the fact that I knew I was going to have to outlast everyone. There was every generation from the 90s to 2000, 2008, 9 to 2010 to 20, there were guys that were always all better than me. Okay? Now, how I got better than them in some ways, I just outlasted them by training smarter. And that was the other thing of the work ethic. Sometimes it's not what you're doing in the gym, it's the preparation before and after the gym that's going to make you successful. A lot of times when we do online coaching for a lot of different clients, what we find is their progression points are not necessarily the sets and reps and intensities and volumes and durations that are going on in the gym. It's the fact that they're not sleeping enough or deep enough, which can be, supplemented with supplementation from ATP labs like magnesium or any other macronutrient deficiency, okay? The other thing is that you have to understand that everything's going to take time. So now to my second particular dive into a different realm. So now we have Wade Russell. Wade Russell has his master's degree. He pretty much started the strength conditioning program at Ball State University at a D1 school. He played for the Dolphins and the Bengals, and now he is a great strength coach for a large high school affiliated with Purdue. Point is he was my mentor for many years. Wade Russell played at a Division III school called Taylor University in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. D3, okay? But he was big enough, fast enough, and strong enough to go play in the pros. So he went from a Division III school, Taylor University, all the way to the Bengals and the Dolphins. Pretty interesting, right? 4'6", high 4'6", 40 at 280 pounds body weight in the early 80s, 500-pound bencher. Dude was a damn animal. Point was, he made it to the professional leagues on teams from a Division III school. Now, what does that take? That takes a lot of determination, that takes a lot of work ethic, and it takes, coming from a smaller area and going all the way big. Point is if I can give any of you guys advice that want to go play football, you don't need to go to Alabama. You don't need to go to Ohio State. In some respects, you might be better off going to a smaller school and taking less hits against guys that are all super good. If I remember correctly, in the percentage range, 55-60% of the NFL is from small schools. And the reason is because by the time they get to the NFL, they don't have all the accumulative injuries. They don't have all the concussions because they're not playing against dudes that are so rough every game trying to prove themselves to another college. Because at the end of the day, in football, it's kind of how many Super Bowls you win or how many playoff teams you're on, right? At the end of the day, if you come from a national caliber team, that's awesome. But at the end of the day, the person that makes the money is the guy that goes to the NFL and gets on real teams. So you have to ask yourself where you want your mileage. Again, my late friend Mike Kudla, we trained together. He had the 225 rep record in the in the combine for many years, around 46 reps, I think, back in 2005. He suffered so many injuries from Ohio State that he actually paid for it with a lot of brain damage by the time he was up in his early 30s. He said he took way more destructive hits in college at playing for Ohio State than he ever did playing for the Steelers. Point is he got a lot of mileage in college, and he was already going into the pros with a track record of many concussions and torn hamstrings. So the point is that, going back to that original topic, is that Wade had to have a hard work ethic in order to get to the pros. He come from a D3 school. He was overlooked in high school by a lot of teams. And the next one is somebody we can all relate to. Michael Jordan, right? 6-time MVP, or maybe more time MVP, but 6-time world champion with the same team. Sorry, LeBron. But also a defensive player of the year and more stats than we could possibly imagine. We'll try to list them. The point is, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school team. And that created the work ethic that Michael Jordan was going to need to be a world champion for multiple times. If you watch, and if you haven't seen it, The Last Dance on Netflix, it's an amazing documentary. But it shows the transition of his work ethic and how, even somewhat psychotic, his work ethic allowed him to win. He would refuse to become beat. But the point was, he started at the bottom of the barrel. Now, what helped Michael Jordan genetically is that he grew tremendously from the age of about 17 to 22. He went from being, I think, 6'1" to 6'6" in the later years of his high school and college career, which is kind of odd. But the point is that his work ethic and first getting cut allowed him to have such a drive and passion to never feel that way again, that it created a spark that not only drove him to be a great basketball player, but everyone else around him to step up to that level. You know, if you ever asked any of the guys like Pippen and Kerr and all those guys about working and practicing with Jordan, every day was like going to fucking war. And the one year that they got beat to come back, I believe by the Pistons, they worked so hard in the weight room in the offseason that they were indestructible the next year. Point is that some people take getting beat, and some people take getting cut, and some people take negatives and make them insane positives. For most of us, it's hard for us to do that. We see a negative and it's almost a roadblock, and we turn the other direction and go the other way. For some people, they just put their head down and knock it right through the wall. So in some ways, myself with my legs being broken, Wade coming from a D3 school playing pro, and Jordan being cut from his high school team working all the way up, take these negatives and learn how to turn them into a positive work ethic. So if you guys need help with coaching, come on to our online coaching or go check out our manuals on the website. We also offer Train Heroic and Patreon, where you can see proper workouts and also ask lots of questions in case you have a lot of Q&A. Because we know that there's a lot of bullshit out on the internet, especially YouTube, and we want to make sure you guys are going the right direction.